There's a lot of talk about Zach Lomax. Mate, do you tell the guys to keep a spot in the team photo for him today, or is that a bit too premature?
Look, I got tipped up about this question, but I'm pretty disappointed you haven't asked me about my new pub in Brisbane, to be honest, other than Zach Lomax. So, yeah, the pub's going well. Thanks for asking. I'll leave that up to the coaching staff and the owners. That's above my pay grade, and he's a great asset to the club if we get him. But look, I just think there's been a whole bit of publicity around it, and we're very confident, very comfortable with our squad at the moment. So, look, he'll probably add a nice element to it, but we're not putting our whole eggs in one basket, worrying about if we get him or not. So, yeah, look, it's not great media for us going forward, especially at the start of the year, and we got them in round one. But, yeah, like I said, looking forward to the season. I know we're a couple of weeks away from the trial, so, yeah, excited to get back out there and get rid of this pre-season. I've had enough.
Yeah, it's your, 13th pre-season, I think. They obviously don't get any easier, but is this one of the hardest ones you've done?
Well, I reckon it has been one of the hardest, I reckon. I'm over the hump now, almost 32 this year, so, yeah, age is catching up on me, but just watching these young kids coming through is just how quick and nimble and hungry they are, and sometimes you think you can outsmart them in certain things, but sometimes they just got young legs and they just keep going, so, yeah, I'm going to have to somehow find a way of getting these old legs going, but, it's great to have this young group come through and a bit more of a competitive, hungry mindset with this group. I think for us, as the older you get, sometimes you get a little bit comfortable in certain positions, and for them to come through and want to push for positions, it just makes you excited and enjoy footy a bit more as well too.
I know you're joking about your age, but last year set benchmarks for yourself in terms of your tackle numbers and try assist numbers, or something must be working. What can you put that down to?
Just probably the connection piece we have with my edge. I think we look at the try assist numbers and so forth, but they were a lot from kicks, and I think Xavier Coates kind of got me out of trouble a couple of times there. So he's a freak in the air, and I guess when you utilise him when you got that strength on the outside here. But yeah, for me it's probably just more just getting fitter again. I guess the game's changing. You just never know with the rule changes that the NRL is deciding to do every year. So yeah, that's a dig at you guys. Just keep it. I just don't think we need to touch the game a whole heap, to be fair with you. I think the game's in a great place, and yeah, I don't really agree with the kick return. If someone scores, you get to dictate on who gets to kick off. So that's my opinion, but I'm sure they won't care about my opinion too much. But just for the game in general, just excited to get back there, and I'm sure fans are too. So Vegas is not too far away, which is the opener, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the trial with our young boys against the Raiders in Queanbeyan, and then I'll obviously play against the Titans if I'm fresh and fit, ready to go.
I think you said the other day those old legs have got 2 or 3
Yeah.
I mean, how seriously are you sort of thinking about when the end will be, or was that sort of a bit more of a throwaway?
You just never know. It was just more of a question that I got asked probably from Carl about like what my plans were, and I guess when you look back on it, like I'm not old in terms of probably age, but footy age it creeps up on you. I think I'm still here until I'm contracted until I'm 33, so you just never know when the doors are around you. And all I was meaning was like when you're at the great time of your life or peak of your career kind of vibe, you just want to be able to dictate your terms and retire at your terms. I know there's a lot of guys in the game that have had concussion injuries and retired from injury, so I don't want to be one of them guys that gets to a stage of squeezing the lemon so hard that I have to retire because of medically. So that was more my comments of it. I want to be able to go out on my terms, and that was more just the answer on that. It wasn't I'm ready to retire now. It was just more just being able to dictate and retire my terms so I can enjoy life after footy.
With seeing Ali Katoa today and
Yeah.
the photo and that, what's that like? What's it been like having around the group? So I imagine you probably would have thought you wouldn't see him much for the first bit of the year, but earlier on.
He's such a vibe, Ali. Yeah, look, he said, like, realistically he shouldn't be around the club, but that's just how determined and how positive he is with himself, and he's got a plan in place, and yeah, like he's going leaps and bounds compared to what probably the doctors and the medical side thought, but he's obviously got so many more hurdles that he needs to get past to be able to play. But just to see him around the group, such a integral part to our team, and he's still in meetings, he's still training for himself, and being around the group, it just shows how much he loves rugby league and how much he loves this group, and he's even took some of the younger boys under his wing, and that's a leader, and that's the reason why he's just blossomed into one of those back rowers, that one of the players that you want to play with. And yeah, it's scary to think what happened to him obviously no more than 6 months ago, probably more than 4 months ago. So, yeah, it's a scary part to be able to, what he went through, but just to see what he's doing and see what he's been able to do for our group, it's just so inspiring, and we're very lucky to have him in our group.
Cam, lots of talk obviously about Lomax, but then the other talking point in the off-season has been losing Paps.
Yeah.
Are you going to take time getting used to not having those boys there, or do you think from round one the guys are ready to go, you move on?
I guess you can't really move on from experience. Like, at the same time, like, we've got some good young exciting players like your Hugo Peels and your Silva Longos, and they've got different strengths to what Paps had, and obviously Paps was a very great player, and at his peak he was probably one of the best fullbacks in the game. So it's a very hard loss for us with Paps. He's a bit of a deep thinker and had a bit of a different side to the way he thought about the game, and it was always inspiring, and it was always good to see someone outside the box have a bit of a different mentality to you. And obviously with Sawyer, he's hungry, he's fast, he's hungry, willing to get out there and try anything, and it's going to be exciting for us. We just got to try and harness that energy in our team. Can't afford to be having him throwing balls outside into the touch and be us defending the whole heap. So we're always going to back him and be very confident in the way he goes about things. But we just got to try and harness him and put him in the right spots to be able to give him those highlight reels that everyone sees him when he lights up the field. So excited for him. And with Nelson, he's had a bit of a tough run. I think 2 back-to-back grand finals he hasn't been able to play because of suspension. So he obviously lost love of the game, and sometimes you do that, and he's obviously found love in a different sport, and I'm glad I'm not a heavyweight boxer because I wouldn't be wanting to fight him either. So, he's obviously found his love for something else, and I'm excited to see him. And I actually see him at the airport on the weekend. He was flying to Sydney, and just seeing the smile back on his face was really nice. So, obviously, he come into training and was dreading coming back to training, which I can understand. So, he's found another passion, and I'm excited for both of them in their futures endeavours. And I still obviously keep with Paps with our podcast. So, he seems like he's loving life, and he's now doing caddying. So, we had a bit of a podcast yesterday about it, and it's pretty intriguing to hear what goes around the golf life being a caddy.
Cam Smith is in the Broncos camp doing some coaching.
He is.
Does that feel right?
Look, it's obviously something that he wanted to do, get back in the footy. Probably his wife Barb didn't want him to fly down to Melbourne every week. He pretty much missed out on a whole heap of his kids' life. So he's obviously got a good relationship with Madge, being down at Storm, and I'm pretty sure Madge coached him at one stage down here when he was an assistant. So they have a great relationship, and it's disappointing to see him in different colours, but he obviously wants to get a bit of development, and probably there's 2 ways of skinning a cat. So he obviously feels like there's a different way of coaching, and you never know, he might end up having some development there, and he might come back down. So who knows? I'm not too sure on who the next coach will be after Craig, but I'm sure Billy or Cam will be the right fit.
Just see him taking over from Craig whenever he decides to step away.
It'd be nice. He's a very smart man, Cam Smith. Not too many guys have a resume or accolades of premierships and awards. I don't think he hasn't won one, other than probably the Clive Churchill. So it's a pretty special resume to have, and he's done everything in the game, and I don't think too many people will be able to break the record of how many games he's played. So it's a crazy feat, especially for the position he played, and I don't think too many people will argue that he wasn't the best player that the game's seen for a long time.
Thanks, guys.